Hey, what's up everybody? This is David, the Pro Seller Flipper. I wanted to make a video today about the importance of regular listing on eBay. Of course, it goes probably universal across all platforms, whether you're on Amazon or Poshmark or Mercari or wherever else. But I do eBay, 95% eBay, so that's kind of what I'm typically talking about when I'm making my videos. But yeah, I want to talk about the importance of listing regularly. So, and I'm just gonna kind of go over the few reasons why I think it's so important to have strong sales, as well as I'm going to give you a couple examples, kind of show you the actual numbers on a whiteboard. I'll have it broke down for you. The first example will be kind of my personal example from my own numbers from the last 2 months for October and November of 2019, and kind of show you the difference between those 2 months, what happened. The difference in my sales, my results, and what led to that as far as my listing habits for a couple months. That will show you, be one example that will show you why listing is so important. And then I'm going to show you another example, a breakdown of numbers, which is kind of just a hypothetical example based on my experience of what I think happens when you list fresh listings and how it affects your sales. So I'll go over those two examples, but first I'll just talk for a minute about the few things that I think, the few reasons why listing regularly is so important. So everybody talks about eBay's algorithm. It's kind of a mystery about what affects your ranking or how you come up in searches. And you've heard that eBay likes it. Maybe you've heard that eBay likes an active store. They want you to be listing regularly and all the time. And the more, if you list regularly, daily or whatever, then it will lead to more sales. It's a mystery. Nobody really knows what the eBay's algorithm is, but I believe that that's probably true. That's one reason why you want to be listing regularly, so that people are going to be seeing your items, ranked maybe a little bit higher in searches. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But it makes sense to me. I mean, why wouldn't eBay want you to be listing regularly, right? And if you are, then maybe they're going to push your listings a little bit higher. I don't know. So that's one reason. Then there's some very basic reasons, right? I mean, if it's not listed, it can't sell. You've heard that probably before. That's for sure. That's true. I mean, I have a ton of unlisted inventory. I've talked about it many times, and of course, it's sitting there not selling because it's not listed. Another thing is you want a certain amount of listings just to increase your odds of something selling. So, if you have 10 or 20 listings, the odds of something selling is not real high, honestly. I mean, depending on what it is, I guess. If you had 20 iPhones listed at a very good price, then they'll probably fly right off the shelves. But depending on what you're listing, you want to get your listings as high as you can. I've always had the kind of belief that I want to keep growing, so the more and more listings I get, the more and more sales I will get, and I found that to be true over a period of many years. I track my numbers really well. I use a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet that's pretty in depth. I can look back at years of data to see how many sales I'm getting, what percentage of my listings are selling, my average sale price, and all that kind of stuff. So. In fact, I'm probably going to be making it. That'll probably be one of my next videos, if not the next video, is going to be a video of my spreadsheet that I use. If I can figure out how, first I have to learn how to do the screen share thing so I can put it up on a video. But I'll probably do that so I can show you kind of in depth what spreadsheet I use. A few of you may have purchased that spreadsheet from me. I have it for sale on Instagram for $9. I posted my numbers on there quite a bit, screenshots of my numbers, and people started requesting that if they could get that spreadsheet. So I cleared out a copy and made some changes, put some instructions on there so that people could buy it if they want it. But anyway, like I said, that'll be coming up in a video. But anyway, I track my numbers very well, so I know my numbers kind of inside and out. I've seen the same pattern over a long period of time. Basically, what I've seen on a monthly basis, I'm getting about 25-30% of my inventory will sell. So that means if I have 1,000 listings, that 250 to 300 items will sell each month. And that kind of comes down to about another number that you might have heard before. That's fairly common. I mean, depending on what you're listing, there's always that, but 1% of your listings will sell a day. That's kind of what I've seen. Honestly, since I've gotten a little over 1,000, that seems like it might be a little bit lower than that now, but still pretty close to 1%. So what I'm saying is if you have 1,000 items in your store and you maintain that 1,000 items, that you probably will see about 10 sales a day on average. That's just average. So some days maybe 5 and some days maybe 15, but and everybody's numbers are going to be different. So it might be, maybe you'll have 1,000 listings and you only sell 6 things, or maybe you'll have 1,000 listings and you'll sell 16 things. I don't know. But for me, I've seen about 1%. And like I said, since I've gotten over 1,000, I'm at 1,200 or so. I'm not averaging 12 a day. I'm still only averaging about 11 or so. So anyway, the more you have listed, the more you're going to sell. If you track your numbers, then you can kind of see how you're doing and kind of compare yourself to others for those that share their numbers. But basically, so you want to list regularly for eBay's algorithm. There's that. The second one was basically it's not going to sell if you don't list it. The third one is you want to get as many listings as possible because that's going to increase your odds of having items sell, right? And then the fourth one, which I think is really important that maybe people don't think about, is the fact that, I have 1,000 listings. A lot of that stuff has been listed a long time, and it's not that they're bad items, but there may not be a high demand for them, and they may be items that are just looking for that right customer and are going to take a long time to sell. So what's going to happen when you list items is that a certain percentage of them are going to sell fairly quickly. Because they're items that people really want, or maybe even you happen to price them a little bit lower than you thought. You thought, maybe they're worth a little bit more than you thought, and you price them a little lower, and so they're going to sell faster. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're making your profit. But a certain percentage of those items that you list are going to sell fast, and then the rest of them will take some time to sell. So that'll be the second example that I go over, is kind of a breakdown of what I feel about those numbers, of how many you list and how many will sell right away and how many will take some time to sell. But anyway, so let's just get to the examples. I will start first with my own personal numbers for October and November. All right, so here you see, these are my actual numbers. The listings are probably approximate. They're they're really close. I'm just going off of what I remember, which I'm sure is very close. But my sales are actual numbers for October and November. And I want to show you how listing impacted and not listing impacted my sales between October and November. Okay, so down here you can see my new listings that I put up for September. September, I put up 380 new listings, and this is what's going to affect my sales in October. And in October, I only listed 230. Now, these are approximate, but these are pretty close. So you can see that there's a difference of 150 new listings. So let's see what happens to my sales based on these. Now, if you see my past videos, my most recent, I've been distracted. There's been a couple of reasons for me getting less listings up, mostly due to we're buying a new house. So we've been looking for a house. We've been getting our house ready to list. We've listed it. We sold it, et cetera, et cetera. We've done all this other stuff, and it's really impacted my sales. And I'm not complaining at all. I'm just kind of giving you the reason for what's going on here. So September, I listed 380 new listings. So that started me out in October with 1,350 new listings. The value of that inventory, or however you want to say it, was $43,000. So that was the level of my listings, was $43,000 worth of items, 1,350 listings at the start of October. That led to 13,278 sales for that month, which is a great month for me. I think that was my best month ever. And I hope to keep having best month ever as I keep growing. But as you can see, in November, there was a dip, and let's look at why. So for October, during the month, I sold a lot, right? And I only listed 230 new items. So because of that, I started November at 160 less items. Or this is, like I said, this is approximate, but I'm just kind of giving you an example. It should be pretty close. So I only started with 1,190 listings, which is 160 less listings, and $37,000 worth, which is $6,000 less. And so what did that lead to? That led to less sales, 11,217, which is still a pretty good month for me. But you can see that's a significant difference. I mean, that's my monthly pay. I mean, that's not my monthly pay exactly, but that's my monthly sales. And so you can see the difference here of $2,000 less, right? So if you look at it, what I've mentioned before is that 1% of my sales, or 1% of my inventory, my listed inventory will sell a day. And let's see what that actually impact is. So I had 160 less listings. So that means that 1.6, that led to a decrease in my sales of 1.6 per day. Or if you look at it on a monthly basis times 30, that would be 48 less sales. And then the same thing for the dollar value of my inventory. If I had $6,000 less in inventory available for people to buy, then that's going to lead to 1% of that, or $60 per day less, times 30, which it would lead to in the month $1,800 less in sales. Now look how close that is to my actual numbers. So 1%, what I estimate as being 1% less in sales or 1,800, my actual was 2,000. I mean, that's pretty much right on. So I just want to show that this is for people who don't understand why their listings may have dropped. I know exactly why my sales, not listings, but my sales have dropped, because my listings have dropped. I am 100% responsible for this decrease in sales here. It has nothing to do with eBay. Nothing to do with anything in my mind, other than I just didn't put in the work to get those listings up so I could get the sales. And I've seen these same kind of numbers happen year after year after year for me. Like I said, I track my numbers very well on a spreadsheet. So anyway, I hope this kind of goes to show people who don't think about their numbers, or don't look at their numbers, or don't track their numbers. This is why I feel it's important. Now, I know not everybody likes working with numbers. I happen to love numbers. I love the information that they provide for me and my business, and I love to track my growth. But for those of you that haven't done it, or haven't started doing it, or don't like to do it, maybe this will kind of give you an idea of what's actually going on, and gives you something that maybe you can look at yourself at and think how you can get your sales to go higher, rather than just hoping that things will get better, or maybe that it's eBay's fault, or some maybe this economy, or the time of year, or whatever. But and of course all those things do come into play also. I'm not saying this is the only thing that can cause a decrease or an increase in sales, but for me it's been very consistent. So hopefully this example helps you. Okay, so here I have kind of a hypothetical example of what I think kind of happens when you list items, kind of the timing of when I think things sell, and an example of what will happen if you list regularly, let's say over a 5-day period. Okay, so at the top you can see here, I'll kind of use this thing as a pointer here, you have 15 items, you're listing 15 items in a day, and then what happens with those 15 listed items over, let's say, the course of a week or more. So here's in my experience what will happen when you list 15 items. It doesn't always happen, but it tends to happen. So you have 15 items you list. Within a day or two, you'll probably see 2 of those things sell. And then over the next week or so, maybe a week or 2 weeks, you will see 3 more of those items sell. So 5 out of the 10 items that you've listed have sold within, maybe we'll just say, a week. And like I said, it's not always going to be the case, but I think that it happens quite often. So let's say you do this 5 days in a row, and let's see what happens. So 5 days in a row, you'll have listed 75 things, right? So within a couple days of each of those listings, that's gonna lead to 10 sales. In that 5-day period. Maybe, I guess, within a week still, you'll have those 10 sales from the items that will sell within a day or two. Plus, you're going to have another 15 sales that are going to sell within a week of listing, or maybe slightly longer. So total, that's going to give you 25 sales in like a week or two's time. Right off the bat, just from those 75 listings you did in a 10-day period. So because, and like I mentioned earlier, some of the items that you list are going to be better than others, and maybe people will be looking for them. Maybe there's not much competition for those items, and maybe even possibly you listed them a little bit cheaper than maybe you should have or could have, and so they sell fairly quickly. So you'll have 25 sales from those 75 listings in a 5-day period that are going to come fairly quickly, and then you're still going to have 50 listings that left that will sell over time. And so you can kind of see, if you're doing this regularly, like even let's just say, and this honestly, I just kind of made this as a hypothetical example, but this is probably about what I do in a week. I usually try to strive for 100 listings in a week. But I have a hard time hitting that, to be honest, just because it's hard for me to stay focused and not get distracted. And then, maybe I'm doing some other things like making YouTube videos, but, so this is actually probably a good example of something that commonly happens for my actual numbers. But, so you're going to get those 25 sales within a week's time. And so maybe this is going to even end up being the bulk of your sales for the month, is these fresh listings that you're putting up. So if you're doing, 25 sales off of these 75 items that you listed in 1 week, then that's 25 sales a week. That's 100 sales. So maybe that's not the bulk, but maybe that's a third of your sales. And for my own personal numbers, I'm selling a little over 300 a month. And so if you're getting 100 sales from the fresh items that you're putting up, that sounds about right. That makes sense to me. And so, and then you have all these other listings, right? So you're adding 50 items per week that are going to go over into your, total listings, and that are going to sell over time. Maybe it'll be a month, maybe it'll be a few weeks, maybe it'll be a month, maybe it'll be as much as a year or even more than that, possibly, depending on, what that item is. Some of those items may be just waiting for that one customer to look, to find, and that they're searching for, that they want to buy it. So, so if you're getting 25 sales in a week because of these 75 listings, plus you have, in my case, 1,200 other items listed that are going to be selling, you can see how much of an impact this has. These fresh listings will have on your sales. I mean, if you're listing 75 a week, that's what, 300 in a month, and you're getting 100 sales from that. That's pretty good, I think. And plus you're going to get all the sales from, your currently already listed stuff that's going to sell slower. So maybe, hopefully this is helpful to you guys to see, to kind of think about one more reason why listing regularly is really important, because like I said, some of those items are just going to be fresher items that maybe there's not much competition now, or maybe like I said, you listed a little bit cheaper, or for whatever reason are going to sell faster than others. And if you're not getting these up, if you had this 1 week where you didn't list anything, look how many sales you're going to miss out on in a week or 2 times. 25 sales within a week or week and a half, 2 weeks time. I mean, that's almost a couple sales a day you're going to have less because you skipped out on listing these items. So I try to keep this in mind when I try not to go more than a day or 2 without any listings. Really, no matter what I'm doing. Like even today, I went to the post office, FedEx. I went to a couple thrift stores, and I stopped at Walmart to pick up this whiteboard actually. And I'm making this video, and I still hope to get 15 new listings up before the end of the day. It may or may not happen, but I hope so. And that's kind of my goal. So that's kind of what I'm referring to for this hypothetical example. And like I said, hopefully it helps you guys see what I believe to be one of the strongest reasons for regular listings. All right, so hopefully those 2 examples will help you kind of see the numbers, and maybe it'll kind of, a few things will click for you. Basically, to sum up, there's different reasons why listing regularly, in my opinion, is going to help your sales drastically. So first and foremost, maybe it helps the eBay algorithm, helps you, your search ranking, and keeps your items in front of people so that they're seeing them. Second, of course, if it's not listed, it can't sell. That's, it's about as basic as you can get. Third, you just need as many listings as possible, because the more listings you have, the better the chances you are going to have something for sale. And fourth, maybe getting those fresh listings up there is going to increase the odds of you selling more things, because fresh items, maybe you have some of them are going to have a faster rate of sales. So you'll be generating some sales kind of instantly. So, that's it. Hopefully this will be helpful for you. I mean, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'm pretty good at answering those. Follow me on Instagram, Pro Solo Flipper there too. If you wanted to see screenshots or any information about that spreadsheet, I have some posts of my actual numbers and screenshots of that spreadsheet that I use on there. I believe the date from that one post where I showed more information about it was on 11/14 of 19. But keep an eye out for that video if you're interested in seeing my spreadsheet and how I track all my numbers and the kind of information that it can provide for you. And it makes doing taxes at the end of the year super simple because everything is there. Anyway, hopefully you guys liked this. Hopefully it was helpful. Like, comment, please subscribe. That really helps me out a lot, and lets me know, give that thumbs up. Lets me know if you guys are liking this content or not, or if I should keep doing these videos, or if I'm wasting my time. I don't know. Anyway, thanks. Appreciate your time. Hopefully you got something out of this.